and thanks for watching NewsVision. I'm Shayna Calandro.
And I'm Rodney Holcombe. This show will take a look at some of the top stories from the spring semester.
We begin our coverage with the first D.C. mayoral debate that took place on Howard University's campus March 5th. Community
members and students showed their support by coming to hear each of the candidates' platforms.
A crowded Blackburn Ballroom on Howard University's campus was the first stop of the D.C. mayoral race debate series. 7 of the 8 candidates plan to attend the debate, along with hundreds of Howard University students, community members, and campaigners. After a 45-minute delayed start, only candidates Tommy Wells, Carlos Allen, and Vincent Orange were in attendance. After the debate start, Mayor Vincent Gray arrived, followed by Jack Evans 30 minutes later. Candidates Andy Shalal, a Howard University alumnus, and Muriel Bowser did not come to the debate. Students expressed their concerns about the absent and late candidates.
I would like to hear the excuse on why they were late. It's concerning to say the least. It shows the disrespect for the people that were here on time, but more so for the voters, the constituents that were here. I would like to think my time as a constituent is equally important as everybody else's.
Something about their administration and what type of lengths they would go to make sure that they show up on time at Howard University and at meetings and different things like that.
The debate covered a variety of issues to include affordable housing, minimum wage, and education. Each candidate made an effort to distinguish themselves from the others.
I'm running for mayor to bring good-paying jobs to the nation's capital, to build affordable housing, to make sure we have access to health care, and also to make sure that our young people have an opportunity to get a good education here in the nation's capital.
Mayor Vincent Gray decided to focus on what he has done rather than what he would do in a future term.
From the very outset that we needed to increase the minimum wage for everybody across the District of Columbia, and that's what's been done. I was glad to join with the council in doing that. But we also have to create jobs. Since I've been in office, we have created 33,000 jobs in the District of Columbia.
Councilmember Tommy Wells says he's the only candidate not using corporate contributions to fund his campaign.
When someone gives you corporate dollars, they expect something in return. So instead of serving that group, really the people who are going to support me are people that trust me to reach out and support them, and that I owe them my best judgment, not the people that funded the campaign.
Carlos Allen, a musician and party promoter, says poverty and homelessness are 2 issues that need immediate attention.
Once you got to find out what the issue is, all right? And once you find out what the issue is, then from there you start to deal with the problem, and from there provide a solution. So how do we deal with that? Majority of the time is provide jobs for individuals.
The 8 Democratic candidates will debate until the April 1st primaries. A new mayor will be elected this fall and will call the 3rd floor office of the Wilson Building home. From the Wilson Building in Washington, D.C., I'm Rodney Holcombe with Spotlight News. Candidate Jack Evans arrived to the debate just minutes before it ended.
President Obama proposed to raise the current federal minimum wage of $7.25 to $10.10. The D.C. government recently took matters into its own hands. NewsVision reporter Tashira Merritt gets the perspective of a small business owner.
That investment is something that we think will pay off for our business.
Eric Zeidzik, co-owner of Sugar Daddy's Bakery, says they are a responsible business that pays their workers a living wage. D.C. Council unanimously voted and Mayor Vincent Gray signed the bill that says in the district by July 2014, the minimum wage will rise from $8.25 to $9.50 an hour. $1 will be added by 2015 and another $1 will be added by 2016. According to the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the minimum wage hike will minimally affect big corporations, but they will have a deep and disproportionate impact on smaller businesses. But Zeidzik disagrees.
It's about the sustainability of a business. So that means if you have reduced your profits by a certain amount, but yet you have created an atmosphere in which people want to work and want to stay, you've then suddenly reduced your costs associated with people leaving.
48-year-old Tina Whedon has worked for minimum wage since she graduated from high school.
One apartment you had to make $40,000 to afford $800 to pay $800. Then the other one you had to make $21,000. I only make $17,000.
Whedon also supports her daughter in college.
It's rough out here, and it hurts me because a lot of times she I be out, Janae, you need anything for school? You need this? No, Mom, I don't. And if she do, she won't ask.
Stories like Whedon's are the reason why Zydezik says a living wage for their employees was non-negotiable.
Since if the minimum wage were raised to $11.50, then of course we would certainly comply and go beyond.
States are not waiting for Congress to take action. Currently, 13 states have raised the minimum wage, which took effect in the beginning of the year. D.C., Maryland, and Hawaii are right behind them. I'm Tashira Merritt for Spotlight News.
Connecticut has also joined the other states.
With the battle against hunger on the rise and a lack of federal funding, the Federal Research and Action Center strives to assist low-income households achieve a hunger-free environment. NewsVision reporter Tanya Nelson visits an organization called DC Hunger Solutions to uncover how they work with the center.
Statistics show 1 out of 8 DC families suffers from a lack of food. DC Hunger Solutions strategizes to make connections between city residents and nutritious food. Anti-hunger associate Catherine Benby says its supplemental nutrition assistance program that includes distributing food stamps is one of their most effective strategies.
There are around 5,000 people in DC who just get the minimum and around 7,200 people who get between $15 and $29 a month in food stamps. So we have been pushing DC to invest local funding so that everyone gets at least $30.
Food stamps have successfully helped people in low-income households. Meet college student Andrea Miller. She says using supplemental assistance has lifted a financial burden off of her and some of her family members for years.
Since I'm away at school, I definitely feel like the money that I have, like the actual cash that I have, goes for things that I can't use other than like getting on the metro or getting back and forth to school, like putting gas in my car. So the food stamps definitely help as far as eating, because now I kind of feel like I should only buy food if I'm using my food stamps.
The federal government funds the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. However, the majority Democratic Senate recently voted to cut $8.6 billion in food stamps.
The cuts in the Farm Bill that passed in February, it didn't actually change so much eligibility, so it's not that fewer people are on the program, although maybe fewer people will now apply and perhaps fewer people will recertify to continue to be on the program, but it changed the amount that people get.
I kind of hope that sometime in the near future they reconsider the budget cuts that they put on the SNAP program and other programs that help people who actually need it.
Federal food stamp cuts may seem like a roadblock for some families. However, according to the Food Research and Action Center, some states are taking matters into their own hands to find ways to increase food aid. For Spotlight News, I'm Tanya Nelson.
For more information on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, visit frac.org. Up next, One DC program strives to help some members of the community get back on their feet.
And find out more about DC Central Kitchen's newest initiative to help DC residents eat healthy.
Everybody looks left, everybody looks right. Everywhere you look, I'm standing spotlight.
Network on SLN4 TV.
Welcome back to NewsVision. I'm Rodney Holcombe.
And I'm Shayna Calandro. Over the past few years, DC has seen a rise in the people moving to the city. However, with many coming from all over and increasing housing costs, many residents and households are being misplaced. NewsVision reporter Talib Bab takes a look at one of the city's growing concerns.
The nation's capital has drawn a large amount of newcomers in recent years. The Census Bureau estimated that between July 1st, 2012 and July 1st, 2013, the city added 13,000 new residents. There are currently more than 640,000 residents in the district, making it the largest it has been since the 1970s. The influx in population has come with the consequence of an increase in homelessness. DC is adding 1,000 new residents a month, but there is nowhere for everyone to live. Primaries for DC mayor take place on April 1st, and addressing homelessness in DC is a major priority for all of the candidates. Mayor Vincent C. Gray discussed his plan, if re-elected, at the mayoral candidate debate at Howard University.
The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, we have to use our public power, and that is to buy down the cost of housing so that we don't have people displaced in the District of Columbia.
We've invested $187 million. I promise to invest more We're doing everything we can to get people back to work so they can afford to pay for the things that they want, and also increasing their wages. So I think we're moving in the right direction. Do we have a ways to go? Absolutely.
Since the fall, there has been a 135% increase in families entering homeless shelters. Shelters such as the Emory House in Northeast DC, which offers the Emory Workbed program. The program provides free rent for 6 months to people working at least 20 hours a week. Participants must also pass a background check. Herbert Baylor is the housing specialist for the Coalition for the Homeless and has been working with Emory for 5 years. The program only has room for 100 residents, and Baylor's job is to help every resident get back on their feet any way he can.
We have job fairs here. The other major criteria is they have to save at least 50% of their income, and that money goes towards them moving towards self-sufficiency.
Meet 57-year-old resident James Davidson, who is originally from Mississippi and is just a few months shy of getting his master's degree. He joined the Emory House in October of 2013 after being evicted from his home in Northeast.
Unfortunate stuff do happen to people. A lot of people don't think it can happen to them, but in my case, that's what happened. Oh, yeah. I never thought it would happen to me, but I'm sitting here now living proof.
60-year-old Robert Daniels is originally from Detroit, but moved to D.C. 5 years ago when he began working for the federal government. He joined the Emory program 5 months ago after he couldn't afford the increase in rent at his Northwest D.C. home.
And in the neighborhood that I was staying in, there was an influx of people coming from not only the suburbs, but it was a lot of immigrants as well that were moving in who were prepared to pay the high prices of rent in that area.
The residents here at Emory realize they're in a tough situation, but they remain in good faith and refuse to feel sorry for themselves.
You have to do something about it. You can't just wallow in your despair. You have to try to get into different programs. And another thing about Washington, D.C., there's a lot of programs that will help you.
Hopefully in the next couple of months, at my own place, and everything finish up that degree with nothing else.
For Spotlight News, I'm Talib Bab.
To learn more about the Emory House, you can visit dccfh.org.
DA economic research shows that 23.7 million people in America live in areas where fresh produce is limited, and many DC residents are not exempt from this statistic. NewsVision reporter Tiffany Malone has more on the story.
Richard Brown shops at the local 7-Eleven for his groceries.
You go in there, you can get 99-cent hot dog, chicken, potato chip.
Why? Imagine not having access to healthy foods such as fresh fruits and vegetables, a place where the local grocery store is a mom-and-pop shop. According to DC Hunger Solutions, this is the reality for over 24% of the residents in the nation's capital. These areas are labeled food deserts. Dietitian Kathy Glazer says food deserts can lead to various health problems.
When you don't get enough nutrients, you're at risk for deficiencies, you have low energy, you might have low mood, you're increased risk
The list
for obesity,
goes on. However, multiple projects are in place to combat food deserts. DC Central Kitchen has started an initiative called Healthy Corners, where they prepare and deliver healthy food corner stores in wards 5, 7, and 8, the largest food deserts in DC.
Although there are programs put in place that provide fresh produce for underserved areas, the problem doesn't stop there.
You can provide all the access to food if you want to, but if you don't delve into initiatives to change the behavior of people, you're going to still get the same result.
Students from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine recently surveyed residents of a former food desert community in Philadelphia. They interviewed the residents before and after the opening of a supermarket that provided fresh produce. To their surprise, the survey showed that the store had no effect on the food and vegetable consumption. Psychologist Aaron Pearl explains why this may be a family problem.
A lot of times how we're kind of brought up, obviously the behaviors that our parents have are models for us. And so if I always see my dad sitting on the couch eating potato chips, that might be something that I see as okay or something fun.
So what is the solution?
Educate the community, you have to educate the schools, educate the parents, and involve them in whether they need to do cooking demonstrations or, pass out recipes.
If they can find something that really gets them going, that they love too, and they can see the purpose and see, oh, okay, that matters, then that might be the thing.
Although research shows little change in produce consumption in former food deserts, Janelle Walker has seen the positive effects firsthand.
I remember a gentleman saying to me, oh man, I wish I had this green pepper for my spaghetti last night. So it just kind of goes to show you that people want these food items. There's someone who really is counting on us selling this produce and providing it to our corner stores.
For Spotlight News, I am Tiffany Malone.
To help combat a food desert near you, contact DC Central Kitchen at 202-234-0707.
Coming up after the break, the host of The Flow on Bliss FM shares his connections to the community.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Life can sometimes be unpredictable.
What is wrong with you, man? What's taking so long? You know we gotta go to this party.
Man, I've been looking forward to this party the whole year. Chuck, you hear me?
Chuck, you hear me, man? Chuck. You made me drop my phone.
But the pain caused by distracted driving is clear. Drive safely and avoid distractions. Because it's just not worth it.
Welcome back to NewsVision.
Now it's time to highlight an African American making history in our own community. Walter Kirkland is one of the vibrant personalities in DC that still finds time to give back.
1 out of 10 men are gay. I'm not saying it's wrong. I think the world's changing.
Walter Kirkland is the host of his own radio show called The Flow on Bliss FM. Broadcast journalism is one of the many ways he fulfills his purpose in life.
Communications is something that impacts people's lives, it impacts the world, and that's why I got so involved with this field.
He discusses hot topics, controversies, and educational debates with his co-host, Capital T, every Wednesday. Capital T was surprised at first by Kirkland's outgoing personality on the show.
I'm predictable, actually. I thought he was going to come in like the father off of the Cosby Show, you know what I'm saying? But, he's doing his thing. We have a decent intellectual show where we get to show true moral fiber.
But radio isn't the only hat Kirkland wears. He also is the host of the National Association of Black Journalists annual golf event and the president of 100 Black Men in Prince George's County. He takes pride in helping the Black community through both organizations.
As you get older, you want to help the next generation. So it was really kind of calling from God to give back.
Kirkland mentors young boys in District Heights, Maryland every week, helping them with their homework, taking them on trips, and really serving as a role model. He has 2 young boys of his own that he loves spending time with when his workday is all over.
I think we're given certain talents in life, and it's not always about you as the person, it's about how can you help your people, your children, the community.
Kirkland also has a segment on his radio show to enhance education to the youth of DC. He says he's just one man paving a way for a better tomorrow through advocacy, mentoring, and his personality. Reporting for Spotlight News, I'm Shayna Calandro. You can listen to Walter Kirkland's radio show via blissfm.com.
We hope you enjoyed our roundup of stories from the spring semester.
Join us next week for another edition of NewsVision.
I'm Rodney Holcombe.
And I'm Shayna Calandro. Thanks for watching.